Hello, gentle people. If you are new to the Sparrow Art Vibes channel, welcome. And if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I'm Hazel Sanders Sparrow, and I'm the owner and creator of Sparrow Art Vibes. I started this YouTube channel just to share with viewers the methods and techniques that I use to create the items that are available in my Shopify boutique as well as in my Etsy store. I am a retired educator turned entrepreneur and basically a self-taught resin artist. And I am delighted to say that this particular video is my number 100. And so if you are looking for tutorials that don't have a lot of hype, that are step by step, then this is the place for you to be. So in today's tutorial, I am going to show you how I created a personalized beach-themed resin tray. And if you want to see how I did it, keep watching. And again, welcome. You're looking at an order for the personalized resin tray, and this was purchased from my Etsy store. You can see that the customer requested metal handles and a family name, similar to the one pictured here online. So let's begin by taking a look at the materials needed for this project, and then we'll start creating. The materials that we need to create this personalized resin tray include, of course, the mold for the tray, the silicone mold for the tray, and then we need our resin, my Craft Smart Part A casting resin, Craft Smart Part B hardener. Because of the volume of resin we're going to be mixing, I'm using the measuring bowl. It's easier to mix with a silicone paddle. I will need the small measuring cup. I'm doing 3 colors and sand, so I need the paper cups. I'm going to turn those down so you can see. I need my 4 stir sticks. And then I need a little cup for a 4th color of resin. So again, this is 1, 2, 3 colors of resin plus the sand, and then this is a 4th color of resin. You of course need your nitrile gloves to protect your hands. And then my mica powders. Because this is an ocean themed resin board, we are going to be using the All Starry Ocean Blue, the All Starry Aqua Blue, the All Starry, is that focused? Okinawa Blue. And then for a little bit of bling, I absolutely love this Nodway Chameleon Blue Cyan. This is really sparkly. I like it. We need our sand from the beach. I'll just stick that. Okay, so again, we need our sand from the beach. And a lot of times when you're at the beach, the sand kind of glistens. And so I'm adding some gold glitter to my sand. I'm also adding some interference gold, Bling It interference gold to the sand. And let me see, where does it say? Where does it say on here? It says lighten colors with interference, add sparkling chrome and metal effects. That's what I want, that sparkling effect. So the interference gold, and then we need our seashells. So I have regular spiral shells. Then I have my fancy lighter colored shells. I'll stick those in there. But I've been adding these colorful abalone shells to my projects lately because they just make the project stand out a little bit more. In the picture you saw gold handles, so I purchased these handles that look like bamboo, and I'll talk about the screws on these in a minute. But we need handles for our tray. I'm forgetting something. I remembered what I was forgetting. Because this tray is going to be personalized, we need our shimmer vinyl. So that's it. And if there's anything else I forgot, you'll see it later. When I was introducing the materials, I said I would talk about the screws in these handles. This is the way they came. These are handles that you put on a cabinet door, on a drawer, or whatever. And you drill a hole, put this on, and then you screw that in. A lot of people, when they make trays, drill holes into their resin and then screw their handles in. I don't want any holes drilled in my resin. None. Part of that is because I don't want to risk any kind of cracks in the resin, so if I'm not drilling holes, I don't have to worry about that. But here's the thing. If I put this in the mold just like this, you should be able to see, I think that camera is positioned close enough that you can see that there's a distance between the top edge of the mold, which would be the top of the tray, and the bottom edge of the handle. You've got almost 1/4 of an inch. And since I did not have any way to cut these screws, what I did was I just went to Home Depot and purchased some shorter screws. The other thing is, if you take the screws out and don't use the screws at all, let me show you. Take the screws out and don't use them, and you put the handles in, you can't quite get your fingers. You won't quite be able to get your fingers under there, so that handle needs to be that high so you have clearance for your fingers. So what I did was, instead of trying to cut these, I just purchased a new set of screws. Now, these screws are, I'm gonna have to move the camera. These screws are 1 inch in length, and so when I went into Home Depot, I wanted some 3/4 inch screws, and just as a little mini lesson, when you're buying screws, these screws have 3 numbers on them. The first number, this is a number 10, tells you how wide, tells you the diameter of the screw. The second number, 32, tells you how many threads are on the screw, threads being these lines that you twist in. And then the last number, of course, as I just said, is the length of the screw. So I needed some 3/4 inch screws. And so you can see, oops, you can see the difference in the length of, oops, let me move this. You can see the difference in the length on those. And so if I put this screw in, the little 3/4 inch, then the entire screw will be hidden in the resin, but I'll still have that clearance that I need for my fingers. So just when you're purchasing your hardware, just be aware that you do need to be able to like grab hold to the handle. Okay, so with that said, let me take these other original screws out. Those are long screws. And screw our new ones in. And so again, when they are placed on the tray, you'll still be able to get your hands, your fingers under there. That's what we need. So much for screws and handles. So let me put these away. Okay, so now we're going to mix our resin. This mold takes 600 milliliters of resin. I am only going to mix 500 because I need 100 left to do a clear coat when this is all finished. I always mark on my bowl how much I need, so I have 250 and 500. So I'm going to get that poured. Okay, so now we need to mix our resin, and so that would be 250 milliliters of Part B hardener. And then 250 milliliters of Part A resin. I always remind you to read the manufacturer's instructions because the length of time for mixing varies from one brand to another. Craft Mart requires 5 minutes of stirring, so I've set my timer to 5. I'm going to hit start and then fast forward so you don't get bored watching me do this. Okay, so now we are going to divide our resin. We need, oops. Over there. We're going to pour a little bit in here because this is for that blue cyan. And then we need some resin for our sand, and then for our 3 colors of ocean water. Okay, so let's see, said the blind man. So let's do the blue cyan first. A little teeny bit. This is, look how sparkly. I don't know if the camera shows that. That is so pretty. Make sure when you're mixing your resin, see how much mica powder is on that stick. You want to rub that off. Make sure all of that gets mixed in. I'm going to set that aside. And then which cup has the least amount? We're going to start with the darker color. If you ever look at pictures of the ocean, the further out you go or the farthest away from where you are is dark and the water gets lighter as you come toward the shore. So that's why I have 3 different colors of mica powder, because I'm doing the same thing. We're going to start with this darker blue, and that'll be at the top or at the back. I don't know, however you're looking at it. So we're going to do this darker blue. Then the mid-range would be the aqua blue. And then closest to the shoreline or up against the beach is going to be the Okinawa blue, and this is more of a teal kind of green thing going on. So we have our darker blue, our medium blue, and then our greenish blue. And I'm going to just set those there. And then this is for our sand. So let me grab, so I'm going to move this out because I don't want any of this to like get on anything. Put it in the backpack here. The sand is a lot like glitter. It'll get all over everything. And then I have to start vacuuming. And then I'm going to add the glitter, because again, we want our sand to have some sparkle to it. And not a lot. We don't want it to look artificial, but we want it to have a little bit of glimmer. And then we need that Bling It Interference Gold. I need another stick. That in there. I added a little more sand to this. This should be the consistency of, I want to say pudding, maybe Greek yogurt if anybody eats Greek yogurt. Sand is kind of gray. I think I'm going to add a little bit of, I think I'm going to change this up, and I'm going to add just a dash of Pearl X copper to give it a little more color. Hope I don't overdo this. So now we are ready to pour. And so we start with the dark color away from the shoreline. So we're going to pour this like so. And then we have the middle color. Actually, that darker could be darker. And then we have our coastline, Okinawa. And I want that darker blue darker. So I'm going to add a little more mica powder to that darker blue. And then we're going to use our heat gun to pop any air bubbles. Okay, and I did say I had this shimmery, so we're going to put a few of these in here. that in there. And then I'm going to take the spatula and I'm going to start to blend. Get rid of these lines. We don't want clear lines in our... And these waves won't stay. Once the resin starts to spread and set, I'm going to push that resin back some. I need to pull that away from that edge. Let's see if they'll stand. I don't know if these are not in. The bottom of this handle is right in the resin. This handle has, I can see a screw. I can see the screws. So we're going to pull this out and we're going to see if we can push the screws in a little further. Ooh. Alright, so I'm going to let this sit, and you're really just eyeballing the handles to make sure they're about equal distance from the ends. And then we'll come back and we'll start laying in the shell. If you put your shells in before before the resin actually starts to set, I'm going to put that one there and let's see what that does. It will sink. If it doesn't sink, we know we can start to add our shells. Okay, that's going down. So I'm just going to pick out some of the bluer. Couple of the blue shells. Yep, that's sinking. Yep, see? You can't even see the hole. It's almost completely gone. I sprayed some silicone spray in another mold, and because it was in the air, it got on my mold and it left little spots there. But you can see that this shell has completely gone under. When I stick the toothpick in, if the toothpick stays, then I know I can add my shells without them sinking. but it's still a little too soft. And I'm not liking those. I'm not liking these dots on here. I think I'm gonna try and sprinkle a little more sand, try and cover that. I don't think I like that too much. And I hope the sand gets wet enough. So you see me trying to fix a slight. Okay, that toothpick stands up. Oh, it fell over, but when I stick it in, yep, that's good enough. These are not going to sink. Okay, that looks fine. I can't get this, some of this sand. Get this sand off of here. If I can blow that off. So, okay, we are done. I'm getting ready to cover this and allow this to cure overnight. Tomorrow, we will put the name, the vinyl name on here. We'll do a clear coat, and once the clear coat dries, then we'll go back and we will finish the edge. We'll go over the edge with some color. Let's cover this up. I'm ready to do the personalization. And so I've typed the name, the Vitelli family, into the computer. I'm using Cricut Design Space, and I chose the font Market Saturday. And you can see where I played with a few swoosh lines. One thing I wanted to point out is when I did the materials, I had this Paper Studio shimmer vinyl, and I decided after I saw the pour that this light blue was a little too light, so I'm going with my Cricut glitter, so you can see the difference in the colors there. So I'm going with the darker blue. Okay, so we have the name in the computer. So this is one, I did the name, then I did the V, I did the family, and then I chose this little swoosh line. And so then what you want to do so it cuts as one piece and you minimize your work is you want to select all of that. You want to go down here to the bottom and you want to click, well, you have a choice of clicking weld or you can click attach. I'm going to click weld, and then that will be just one piece that'll move as one. That's one piece. Okay, so now we want to go up to the corner here and we want to click make it, and I am doing this on a mat, and we want to confirm that this is going to be on the longer mat. This is 8 inches long, so it needs to be on the longer mat. And so we're doing the blue, so you can see the Vitelli family. Then we click continue, and it is looking for my Cricut Joy machine, and I think you can hear that it found it. And then we want to select the type of paper, so we are using Smart Vinyl Shimmer. And then we are going to load our paper into our Cricut Joy machine. go, and then it should begin to cut the name in the vinyl. Okay, and then we just hit unload. So you can see the Vitelli family. This has been printed, so now we need to weed our vinyl, which means we're pulling away that which we don't need. And then we just need to go back and clear out these letters. So get the opening in this E. And then I'm missing the I on family. I'm just going to cut a little piece. How about that? We have a dot. To make sure that you are using the strong grip transfer paper. Line that up. I, of course, have the Cricut burnishing tool, but you can use a credit card if you don't have one. And you just want to make sure that the letters are stuck nicely to. Before I apply the vinyl, I always wipe the surface with the alcohol wipe, just to make sure there's no dust, no oil. Now you want to peel up. Okay. And so now and again, then we burnish this. Voila. And then you take that backing paper that you had, that you removed, and you place it face down, and then just burnish your letters to whatever surface it is you're working on. Just make sure that the lettering is burnished to your surface. So there we have the Vitelli family. And so now we're going to go do our clear coat. Okay, I initially said we need 600 milliliters to complete this, but I only poured 500 because I needed 100 to do the clear coat. So that's what we're going to do now, our clear coat. I always mark my measuring cup so I don't make any errors when I'm pouring. So we are doing 50 milliliters of part B. And then 50 milliliters of A. And of course, always mix according to manufacturer's instructions, in this case 5 minutes. I'm grabbing these handles with paper towels just in case I have resin on my gloves. I don't want any resin on the handle. So let's just wipe that off, make sure everything looks good. And then I just take a palette knife and just spread this. Make sure you're getting underneath that handle. Make sure you're pushing your resin all the way to the edge. And when you pop the air bubbles with the heat gun, this is going to spread anyway, but you just want to make sure. Okay, and then our heat gun to pop the air bubbles. Okay, and then I always get up and actually walk around and look at this tray from several sides so that I can make sure, like right here, I missed a spot. This is not in the corner there. That did not fill that. Okay, and right here, this corner is not filled. And you really almost have to get down eye level to see if there are any spots you missed. When you have spiral shells like this and this that are a little bit above the surface of the resin, it's a good idea to fill those with resin. That way, if this is being washed, then you don't get water down inside and then have a breeding ground for bacteria. So you want to fill that hole. One right here. Okay, last go of the heat gun. We recover this and let this top coat cure, and then when we come back later on this afternoon, I will unmold this and then we'll paint the edges. Okay, so let's cover this and we are done for now. It is the next day and we are going to uncover and unmold. Alrighty, that's beautiful. That is really nice. Looks just like glass. This is beautiful. Alright, so let's turn her over. Voila! Now here you can see the three colors that were poured: the dark blue, the medium blue, the teal, and then the sand. And you also see our screws on here, and we cover the screws with the rubber bumps. And actually, let me do that now. We use the 3M the 3M rubber bumps. And again, the good thing about these is that because they are rubber, when they are on your table, they are non-skid. And then I always put one right in the middle. So let's turn it over and see what we have. Oh, this is a nice clean pour. Oh, that's pretty. And the edges, let's look at the edges. Boy, that's nice. Boy, I did a really good job on this one. Do I have to sand anything? Those edges look really nice. I think this is the nicest pour I've done. So what we're going to do, I think this edge is a little sharp. I think that edge, although it's clean, let me see if I can get it in the camera correctly. That is really beautiful. But although it's clean, this edge is a little sharp, so I'm going to go over this edge with a piece of sandpaper and just soften this. Okay, so what we have left to do now, this looks really nice. These edges are fine just as they are, but I would like to finish this edge with a little color. I have the Deco Color pen in gold, and I have a Craft Smart oil-based pen in copper, and I'm not sure which I like best, so let's just try them both and see which one looks the best. That's the copper. That's the gold. I think I like the copper better because it's more earthy. So let me get my acetone. Yes, I like the browner. I like the brown tone, the earthier color more. So we're just going to take this gold off of here. And this Craft Smart says this is an oil-based. This is an oil-based pen. And again, this is permanent. So let's just... And this edge doesn't actually require or need color. The pour is a really clean pour. And you see that I only had to soften those edges. I didn't need to use the cuticle cutter at all. I didn't need to use the deburring tool at all. Yeah, the copper the copper looks nicer than the gold. I'm really pleased with the quality of this pour, where I didn't need to do any trimming, no deburring tool. We'll let that dry and then we'll go over and put a second coat on it. But for the back side of the tray, the water side of the tray, I have this Craft Smart glitter pen that I'm going to use. So I'll show you what that looks like. And again, I guess I hope the camera captures that, because this edge is really pretty as blue. That's nice and clean. I mean, that's really, really well done. But the glitter gives it, makes it seem more like water. It gives it some shimmer. If you can see how that's shimmery. Let me see. That's just plain blue, but that has a metallic, a shimmer thing going on. Okay, we'll see it when we finish. And again, I'm always talking about how you finish your work. And so while this blue edge is nice and clean, and you don't have to do anything to it, adding this little bit of glitter to it just gives it a little more pizzazz. Yep, I like that. After it dries and you go back over it, you can see any spots that you missed. I think you can, I don't know if the camera, the lighting in here is such that you can tell the difference between the first and the second coat. And there you have it. And since the rubber feet are already on there, we are done.